ascension of smoke to guide people's focus towards the gods. Lotus, the holiest flower. The smoke rises to maintain faith in the gods with its soft, sweet, floral tone. Champaka, the sweet, subtle, almost fruity smoke rises to the gods as a reminder. Sandalwood, its soft, warm aroma encourages us to let go, relax. And lastly, patchouli, a modern twist to traditional incense. Its soothing effect, unfamiliar amongst the locals. Non-toxic, handmade. All these types of incense have crossed my path several times in temples, offerings on the side of the road, and I've used them myself when praying at home. I pray every day, and I use incense sticks every day. Though there was a moment when I realized the smoke coming from the incense sticks. I was holding the offerings and incense on a tray with my left hand while putting the offerings on the palinge, a temple, with my right. The smoke of the incense was drifting towards my face, and because I had quite a lot of incense in the tray, the smoke coming from it reminded me of a handful of trash being burnt. The smoke made me tear up a little, and my nose became itchy, like the itchiness that comes after you get water in your nose. I knew right at that moment that I was having a reaction towards the incense. And that's when I realized there was something not quite as pure in it than the rest of the prayer ritual. The earliest form of incense was born when cavemen needed to keep a fire pit going. They collected anything they could, including various leaves and long, dry sticks. When those things were put in the fire, an immediate aroma surrounded the area. Since then, humans have used many different materials to release odor when burnt, such as leaves, roots, and berries, and these were the first true form of incense. The word incense itself comes from the Latin verb incendere, which means to burn. They have actually been a part of many different cultures since many of the early years before Christ, and they were very valuable back in the day. The scented incense was a way to please and satisfy the gods, and they believed that in return, all their prayers would come true. Only after the 1800s did the incense sticks from China and incense cones from Japan got revealed to the whole world. They were made out of raw woods and herbs, which were then turned into pastes and powders. These herbs that used to be the ingredients for incense has changed over time and now are replaced with toxic perfumes and glue. Most of the cheaper incense tend to have these ingredients in them. I was curious of how those ingredients affected the people using the incense, so I began to investigate. Is incense bad for your health? Is an article revealing research led by Rong Zhou of the South China University of Technology to find out what incense did to people's health. Zhou did an experiment on 4 types of incense, and 2 of them contained highly toxic chemicals. When these are being burnt, particulate matter is released into the air, which can be breathed in and trapped in the lungs. This could cause an inflammatory reaction, which is when tissues are injured by bacteria and can cause blood vessels to leak fluid into the tissues. The incense contained 99% of ultrafine and fine particles, which is likely to have bad effects on our health. After I read this, I got scared because incense has been a part of my life since I was born. This article gave me even more motivation to make incense less harmful, especially for people who are using it as a spiritual object on a daily basis, like my family does. It wasn't just one type of incense, though. It was a couple of different types, different scents. They all basically had the same effect on me. After I breathed in the smoke, my nose started itching. It took me a trip to an incense factory to actually find out why the incense did that. Ibu Ayu, who owns the Dupa Herbal Suputra incense factory, makes herbal incense out of agar wood, but she used to make the normal incense that is cheaper and more common amongst the Balinese. She told me that a lot of brands that make these incense sticks use laundry perfume, which we all know is very strong and has toxic substances such as formaldehyde that is usually used to preserve dead bodies, and also chlorine bleach. This was enough information for me to begin designing an incense that is considered more safe. It was interesting to find out and learn about how there were a lot of parts to making one piece of incense stick. Factories make multiple at a time because they use a machine, but I took my time rolling the incense one by one. It was such a unique and beautiful process because now when I think about it, everything is mass-produced and can be bought anywhere, even incense and offerings. But to just sit there and roll incense made me feel very grateful to the very few people around the world who still practice this mindful work. It truly is an art form. I researched, made connections, and worked out a way to make my own organic incense. The different incense sticks that I have made in this process are made from organic ingredients that I got in Bali. I use essential oils of local plants instead of toxic perfume, and xanthan gum instead of unsustainable toxic glue. Incense are usually composed of many different herbs, flowers, roots, and leaves, such as patchouli, clove, lavender, sage, and many more. While these ingredients are some of the most common ones used in incense all over the world, the most famous scents in Bali are lotus and frangipani, because these flowers are the holiest for the Balinese, especially the lotus. For my incense, I wanted to make the scent out of lotus and frangipani as well, but I realized that there were already so many of those sold in the market, and I wanted to make something different that the Balinese weren't too familiar with yet. I thought about using lavender and mint, but I needed to ensure that the ingredients for my scent were local. I chose patchouli. This was the patchouli incense I lit at the beginning. The final list of ingredients I used included coconut charcoal, wood powder, xanthan gum, water, methanol, and essential oils. I didn't have a set recipe to make the incense, and along the way, I just kept experimenting and changing different things to see which recipe worked best. The ingredients were simple, and they were all found in Bali. Ibu Mimi of Maignon Projects helped me realize the essential oils native to Indonesia and how to use them. She gave me her essential oils to use and coconut charcoal, which is used for making the incense paste. Once I came up with a pretty good recipe, I started making the incense, and I spent a lot of time trying to perfect it. I started with making the paste, which consists of charcoal powder, wood powder, xanthan gum, and water. Then I carefully shaped it into a thin cylinder on the bamboo stick, I dried them for a couple of days, and then I soaked the incense into essential oil and alcohol to make it flammable. Throughout the process of incense making, I realized how much it meant to me. Incense sticks are something my family and I use every day, and when I realized that it had negative impacts on us, I wanted to make a change. My hope is that this work will inspire others to create safer, healthier incense for ceremonies, and to start valuing little changes in our routines to help improve people's health and well-being. This is a photo of my mother, now using my all-natural incense. This quest journey has taught me a lot about incense, but also about myself. Even though I didn't get to make a lot and sell it like I hoped, I still feel accomplished because I didn't think I would get this far. I would like to thank the following people that have helped me along the way. Thank you to the quest teachers, Ibu Nicola, Ibu Jackie, Ibu Kylie, and Ibu Esther for all the support. Thank you to Ibu Mimi, who has helped me a whole lot through this process by sharing me her ingredients and knowledge. Ibu Ayu from the Dupa Herbal Suputra Incense Factory for the knowledge and ingredients. And lastly, my family and friends who have helped me and supported me from the very beginning. Thank you.